All right, let's dive into one of the most influential and, yeah, controversial books ever written about the human mind, Sigmund Freud's The Interpretation of Dreams. Think of this as a detective story. We're going to follow Freud's footsteps and try to decode the clues that he believed our dreams leave behind for us every single night.
So here's the big question, right? One that people have been asking for, well, forever. Are our dreams just a bunch of meaningless nonsense? Just random, bizarre firings of a sleeping brain? All that weird stuff we see and then pretty much forget by morning? Or could they actually be something more? So you've got the popular view, which is basically that dreams are just random, illogical noise, stuff to be forgotten. But then at the turn of the 20th century, Freud comes along and says, hold on a minute. He proposes something totally revolutionary. He argues that dreams are the exact opposite of random. He says they're actually a coded message, a secret language coming from deep inside of us, a language that might just hold the key to our entire inner life.
Okay, so here's how we're going to follow Freud's investigation, step by step. First, we'll look at the dream puzzle itself. Then we'll get into his big idea, the wish fulfillment engine. After that, we'll see how dreams wear a disguise, how they connect back to secrets from childhood, and finally, we'll walk down what he called the road with him.
All right, first stop, the dream puzzle. Seriously, think about it. Dreams are kind of like a message in a bottle, right? Washed up from some strange, unknown shore inside your own head. They can feel so incredibly real, so vivid, but at the same time, they're just completely disconnected from reality, full of these impossible scenes and totally illogical events.
Freud gives this fantastic example. A guy dreams he's having this personal relationship with Napoleon. Now get this. The dreamer was born a century after Napoleon died. And to top it off, in his waking life, he couldn't stand the guy. It makes absolutely zero logical sense. So that is the puzzle Freud decided he was going to solve. What on earth could these bizarre messages possibly mean?
So how did Freud even begin to crack this code? Well, he started with a pretty radical idea that every single dream, no matter how chaotic or weird it seems, has a purpose. And that purpose, he argued, is always the same: to fulfill a wish.
And this became his huge foundational theory, wish fulfillment. The core idea is super simple, really. Every dream is basically your mind trying to satisfy some desire, some want that didn't get fulfilled when you were awake. It's like your psyche giving itself what it wants, even if it's just in a fantasy.
Freud himself put it really poetically. He said, "The dream is the gracious fulfiller of wishes." And he even pointed out that this idea is baked right into our language. We all talk about our dreams coming true, right?
He gives a really simple example from his work. Okay, picture this. A little boy is told he can't go on a school trip to climb a mountain. He's super disappointed, obviously. Well, that night, what does he dream about? He dreams he's standing right there at the summit. The dream is a direct, totally uncomplicated fulfillment of the wish he was denied during the day. Seems simple enough, right?
But, hold on a second. That raises a pretty big question, doesn't it? If dreams are all about wish fulfillment, then what about nightmares? Why are so many of our dreams just anxious or confusing or just plain weird? Well, this is where Freud's detective work really starts to go deep.
So, Freud's answer was pretty clever. He said our most powerful wishes, well, they often have to wear a disguise. He came up with this idea that our minds have a kind of internal censor, like a gatekeeper, that's there to protect our conscious thoughts from anything too disturbing. And these wishes have to sneak past it.
He called this whole process of disguise the dream work. And you can think of it like a mental scrambler. It takes our more, let's say, unacceptable or repressed wishes, the stuff we don't even want to admit to ourselves, and it twists them, combines them, and turns them into symbols. This whole distortion is what lets the wish get past that censor. And that's why the dream we actually remember often looks so strange and nonsensical.
And this led to some of his now famous symbolic interpretations. So under this theory, climbing a staircase isn't just climbing a staircase. It could represent sexual intercourse, the feeling of falling. Maybe that symbolizes giving in to an erotic temptation. Even something like dreaming of robbers could be a distorted memory of your parents waking you up as a kid. All of a sudden, these bizarre dreams start to look less like random noise and more like a message written in a very clever code.
Okay, but that brings up another question. Where do these powerful, hidden wishes even come from? Well, for Freud, the detective's trail always led back to the same place, the super intense emotional world of our early childhood. He was convinced that the most powerful wishes fueling our adult dreams are forged way back when we're little kids. He argued that those early experiences create a kind of blueprint for our unconscious desires, and that blueprint, it continues to shape our inner lives long after we've consciously forgotten the events that created it.
He pointed to things like the fierce rivalry between brothers and sisters for their parents' attention. I mean, a kid's world is just filled with raw emotion, pure affection, intense jealousy, real hostility. And he especially highlighted those powerful, often really conflicted desires a child has for a parent's exclusive love. He saw that as a major source for these wishes that get repressed.
And it was this deep dive into the emotional chaos of childhood that led Freud to what would become his most famous and, without a doubt, his most controversial theory of all.
Yep, the Oedipus complex. Put simply, Freud proposed that as a totally normal part of development, a child forms an unconscious desire for the parent of the opposite sex. And because of that, they feel a sense of rivalry, even hostility toward the parent of the same sex. This, he claimed, was like the central drama of early life, and its echoes show up in our dreams forever.
So, okay, where does all this detective work lead? What was the ultimate point of decoding these disguised wishes and tracing them all the way back to childhood? Well, for Freud, it wasn't just some academic exercise. It was about discovering a whole new continent inside the human mind, a place that could explain not just our dreams, but our waking lives, our anxieties, our whole personalities.
In his mind, by following this method, he wasn't just figuring out a single weird dream. No, he believed he was charting a map. He was uncovering the geography of this huge, hidden territory inside us that secretly governs so much of our lives, all without us even knowing it.
And that led to his most famous conclusion of all. He declared that dreams were the royal road to this hidden territory, a realm he gave a name you've definitely heard before, the unconscious.
And what did he think was packed into this unconscious mind? Well, he saw it as this massive storehouse for all our repressed wishes, all our childhood fears. It's the place where our most powerful, unacknowledged feelings just live. For Freud, this was the hidden engine driving our motivations, the very foundation of our character. And cracking the code of our dreams, that was the key to unlocking the whole thing.
Now look, Freud's theories have been debated, picked apart, and challenged for over a century, that's for sure. But his work still leaves us with a really powerful question to think about. When you close your eyes tonight, what might your own dreams be trying to tell you about the hidden roads deep inside your own mind?